So our design, we decided to base it on something that already existed instead of starting from scratch and trying to do something completely new. We decided to start with the biome modular system that had already been talked about earlier, and then try to improve it. We focused a lot on the biome layout, so how the city was being constructed, the water circulation, as well as the transportation within the system.
All right, I'll explain this part. So, as you mentioned, it's going to be the biomes stacked together. But imagine that in this torus layout, the biomes are stacked actually from the center, actually from the radius, or I'm sorry, the center of the torus, and each biome is going to be on a separate ring that rotates at a slightly different speed, because if you get closer to the center, you're going to have less gravitational effect because it's based on the radius from the center. So one problem that's going to create is that you got to make sure that at some point you can align them to get in between, but for the most part, we're doing that so that everybody can achieve the same gravitational rotation. So you can imagine, like, you can kind of see, like, this would be like the things right here. You know, that's not what's supposed to be in the picture. So I think that pretty much gets it.
Okay, so this is the interior of our. This is the interior of our design, right? So it's not labeled on there, but the green part is going to be the Greenland. The brown you can kind of see in there. I mean, this area will be residential, and then you can't really tell with the red. These ones is going to be industrial, right? Yep. And then, so the entire outside part you can see, the blue is actually water. Now I'll skip to this one slide real quick, but I'll go back to this. But the water is going to be going around the entire kind of dome-like structure. So it's going to be on one side going down, circulating, the other side circulating that way. So, okay, and then it will circulate to the middle part where there'll be pumps that are going to be sending it through, and then also, I don't know what to put this on. So on one side we'll have a pretty large anode next to some the wastewater that's being produced and other waste from animals and other products, and then there's going to be a cathode from this side, and we'll have some type of large microbial fuel cell, which basically it can take the wastewater and produce clean energy and also harvest energy for other purposes. Then, do y'all want to talk about anything?
Okay, so these two areas gonna be our commercial area or business area, and those two, I don't know, the yellow color gonna be our transportation system. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so we basically, since this is mainly habitat for, I guess, for people to live on, we obviously had to include stuff that you have here on Earth. So obviously since we got these green areas, patches everywhere, this is basically I guess the green life, because without green life, people will be depressed in here. And yeah, we got these circular transportation system, so you can get where you need to go if you live on one side or the other, in case you want to travel and stuff. And yeah, and then we basically also put the industrial zones kind of near the water systems, especially the waste one, because no one wants to be living near the waste. And yeah, that's pretty much.
I forgot to also mention here. So
this four
right.
are our gas exchange system.
Yeah. So there's several gas areas. There'll be sensors and areas that will have some type of, something like I don't know, research or doing anything that's like, it's basically a material that it reacts to other gases or a certain frequency. So if we wanted to, so there'll be sensors. So if there's too high methane, maybe from the waste, we would open up one of these areas that has the material that reacts to methane, and it could do some type of gas regulation so people wouldn't be breathing in methane or other harmful chemicals. Okay. Well, that's that.
Oh, yeah, we already went over that.
Yes, Tom.
I'll explain one more thing about the water. The water that's circulating in that diagram over there it's been purified and it's ionized by the anode and cathode that we talked about earlier, and that's what creates an electromagnetic field that gives you shielding from solar radiation. But there's a balance of a certain amount of water that stays in there, and so just by measuring the back pressure at the center water plant, you can determine how much is in there, and the rest is the water that's you don't have to like send through the anode and the cathode. You just purify it, and it goes back to the areas for people to use. Oh, and then this, that's a dude in the shower, and then after that wastewater goes down the drain, I imagine that it runs in a pipe that is slightly angled down towards the center, towards that water plant in the middle I was talking about. If it angles down like that, then you don't have to use as much energy pumping it. You just only have to worry about pumping it back. And then I just put the power lines in there to kind of show that underground our power system would kind of be right underneath, so it doesn't have to take up any space above. But that's much less relevant. But yeah.
Oh yeah, so for the conclusion, essentially what this house is building upon and improving on the prior, the biome, like the modular design, we didn't want to start with something new, we wanted to take something that had already been kind of developed and then work on making, fleshing out the details and making sure that it was, I guess, sustainable for life. We wanted to add a lot of green spaces that were close to the residential areas and make sure that the industrial areas were kind of centralized as well as the water circulation. And then for the gravity, when the modules had landed on the surface, we could utilize the natural gravity of the planet. So when they're in transportation through space, we utilize the centrifugal force. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.